Yeah.
Cái này
Okay.
của dương
So we're gonna start soon. Sorry for keep all of you waiting because we're having some technical issue from Professor John as he still cannot make it to the Zoom. So right now, before starting off the show, I would like to pay my respect and homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Again, I would like to pay respect to two venerable Dhamma speakers that are presenting in here. And first we have most venerable Dr. Yon Sinjit Brahmani Kausal from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And we have Venerable Dhammasiri Samjanti from Arizona to join in this room for tonight or today Dhamma discussion. And hopefully if Professor John Hall can make it to the Zoom, that would be great. And we're still waiting for him as well, as long as we keep the show moving. But before that, I would like to inform that this is the Buddha Sasana English program of the Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA, which presided over by Most Venerable Preh Athi Muni Mangsang, the abbot of Wat Mani Sutaram in the state of Minnesota, USA. This program conducted in English mainly aims at promoting the Buddha's teaching not only to the Cambodian Americans, but all people around the world to better understand about Buddhism, along with the Khmer culture and tradition. And today, we are very honored to present with you another very special topic on the timely special occasion as Khmer people all around the world, not just in Cambodia, but around the globe, like in the United States of America. All Cambodian people are very busy celebrating the Bon Pchum and Bon Kan Ban. And today is the day 14 in the United States of America. We're still celebrating the Bon Kan Ban and Pchum Ban. And I believe that in Cambodia right now is the last day of Bon Pchum Ban, perhaps. So before asking any question, I would like to be informed again that our venerable speakers, we have Preh Muni Kausal, Dr. Yon Sinjit. As you all know that he's a graduate postdoctorate degree from University of Harvard, USA. And he also the vice rector of the President Raja Buddhist University, Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and right now resides in Wat Analam, Phnom Penh, capital city. And again, Venerable Sam Janti, he is the General Secretary to the Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA, and Venerable has just graduated master degree in psychology from the University of Arizona, and recently he is the abbot of Wat Khmer, Arizona, in the state of Arizona, USA. So thank you so much, most venerable speakers, for spending time waiting to join this special topic today, as we are going to dive deep into this topic, Bon Pchum Ban. So I would like to start out with the most venerable Dr. Yon Sinjit about the Bon Pchum Ban. Before that, I would like to ask, how have you been so far, most venerable Doctor? Is everything all right at your temple despite the COVID in Cambodia?
Thank you very much, Venerable Moderator, for having me today. And I would like to pay my deep respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and my greetings to Venerable Samjanti. I'm good, I'm fine, but the situation in Cambodia is on and off. And anyway, most of the people have been vaccinated, and unfortunately, Bon Pchum Ban this year had been postponed, but still people keep coming to offer foods. But the way that the monks accept the offering is very unique and kind of big different from the previous celebration. Before, as we know that Pchum Ban is one of the biggest celebration in Cambodia. But this year it had been celebrated with a very careful and watchful manner because in order to combat the pandemic, especially the infections seem to be under control, at least to say now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It sounds a little bit sad for the Pchum celebration this year. Nevertheless, it is good that the government of Cambodia take the step of careful attention to practice all types of prevention that may cause to COVID break. And so I believe that everyone is doing okay, especially all the monks in the temple. At least people are still bringing food for the monks, hopefully, in the world of that.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah. And so you get, do you get support, the food from lay people as well on your daily basis?
Not every day, but people keep coming with a very different approach from the previous celebration. Mostly people come to offer foods and donations to the monasteries by standing outside of the gate, and the monk just stay inside of the gate. And this is how the Pchum is celebrated these days.
So is it the same to every temple throughout Cambodia? Or is there any difference?
Not all the temples are doing practicing that kind of measures, but many temples, especially in Phnom Penh.
Well, what's the difference? Why the different format has been practiced? Is it based on the different location where the temple is?
As far as I'm concerned, I think that it depends on how the number of the people. If the temple is located in the crowded areas, then that kind of measures is observed and applied. But for the monasteries in the provinces, especially in the provinces, it seems on the east a little bit much better than the temples in the capital city.
Yeah, I do hope that all our people in Cambodia stay safe and live with much care and prevention from getting COVID-19 or COVID 2021. Anyway, let's move to Venerable Sam Janti. How have you been so far, and how is everything at your temple, especially during the Bon Kan Ban and Pchum Ban?
Thank you very much, the most venerable moderator, Mani Pota Soktevi. First of all, I would like to pay my deep respect to the Triple Gym, and most respect to our most venerable Dr. Johnson Yet, who presently here. And good morning to everyone. Good evening to everyone in Cambodia also. Yeah, I'm doing good. Much busy in Pchum Ban period, Pchum Ban and ancestor ceremony in Arizona, as well as the temple, other parts of USA. We celebrate Pchum Ban ceremony is every day, Pchum Ban every day, like in Cambodia. And people keep coming to the temple every day, at least, yeah, on weekday, yeah, from Monday through Friday, at least 2-3 family never cutting. So people keep coming like in our tradition in Cambodia. So it's a little bit busy here in USA, even though, you know, in Arizona, since the COVID pandemic spread over the world, starting from March 2020. So what Khmer Arizona never celebrate any big celebration, any celebration in the temple, but in Pchum Ban, the people keep coming. So we cannot reject for coming. We cannot deny the people coming. Just ask them to be careful by themselves. and also in USA it's not strict like Cambodia, so we don't need to do quarantine
Stance
or
and
yeah.
we still wearing mask, right?
Yeah, we're still wearing masks, but some people are not, because the monk always wearing a mask in the temple, because the monk meets many people, meet a new one every day. So some people is keep calling first. So how many people will come today? If more than 50 or 30 people, they will not come. So if like less than 10 people, they will come, something like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your little bit of introduction about your situation at the temple, and would like to move to Venerable Doctor about the Bon Pchum Ban, as we observe that Bon Pchum Ban during this season, all Cambodian people around the world, it seems to be very happy with the family reunion gathering at their village, provinces, and town, and it seems like a very special occasion for Cambodian. But I would like to further know from you, what is Bon Pchum Ban, if you would like to explain it based on your experience or how you observe the Bon Pchum Ban look like. Is it kind of traditional or religious in some way, or it's just uniquely a Cambodian tradition? Most Honorable Doctor.
Pchum Ban is a sort of the religious practice, but I would like to say that it is a kind of a combination between Cambodian cultures, Buddhist cultures, meaning that everything's in one, because in Pchum Ban itself, if we look deeply into its style of celebration, we're gonna see different forms of celebration but because of the Buddhist community celebrate, so it is considered as the Buddhist ceremony. So in Pchum Ban itself, in the celebration itself, we see a lot of non-Buddhist, I say non-Buddhist way of doing things, but we also see some sort of celebration which basically based on Buddhist philosophy, like giving dana, observing sila, and they also have some sort of practicing meditation. So, and we also see some celebration part of the Pchum Ban. We also see something which is very unique for our Buddhist community. You see a lot of things. For example, like they're gonna have a kind of celebration to send the ancestor spirit back home or something, which is very foreign in the Buddhist in Buddhism. But we Cambodians have that kind of practice, and in short, I see that Pchum Ban is the symbol of everything, a mixture of Cambodian cultures and as well as Buddhist practice, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist culture too.
Thank you so much, Most Honorable Doctor, for sharing this point. Pchum Ban is not just a unique Cambodian tradition and culture, but it has been mixed with the flavor of Buddhism or Buddhist practices. So far, the Buddhist rituals, as we have seen, and Venerable Doctor just pointed out some of the ritual practices like giving dana, charity, practicing moral precept and meditation, everything, respect and gratefulness or gratitude. These all that have taught in the teaching of the Buddha as well. So we'd like to turn to Venerable Chanti. So far, some people call this Pchum Ban also as the ancestor days. Can you give a bit of explanation how this word come into existence, as people mark that Pchum Ban also represent the day that people honor and remember their ancestors, those who passed away and those who have devoted their life for the sake of the land and their religion. Please, Pandey. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bante, about this very good question. if we look back to our tradition that combine, as Dr. Said, combine Buddhist culture and Cambodian culture together, form one specific celebration called Pchum, and we call the Pchum Ancestor Day or Ancestor Ceremony. That we can say like Memorial Day, Memorial Day for American culture. If we look back to our culture, from my perspective, I see three main value of Cambodian celebration. First, people celebrate for themselves. So what occasion for themselves? I can say about the Khmer New Year in April. In April, Khmer New Year, people come to the temple because of themselves. They celebrate for themselves. They enjoy celebration. They playing or they do something, help each other, support each other. And for this Pchum, they support, they remember their departed relatives, their parent, grandparent, or great-grandparent, or relative they don't know where or when or who already passed. So based on our tradition, the people come together because they believe that if they not perform or they not join this 15-day, at least one day they can. If they cannot, if they miss this occasion, they feel that their relative, their ancestor will blame them, will punish them. So that's why in Khmer culture or Khmer mind, Cambodian mind, so even though religious or non-religious, they still believe that. They still believe that if they
just
make
a belief, right? It's not a fact.
Yeah, it is belief because traditionally belief is not it's not a fact or not a scientific study, but just belief, and this belief plays deeply in Cambodian culture and Cambodian mind. It is not pure Cambodian belief or Khmer belief. It's mixed with we can say Chinese tradition because we got from Mahayana tradition. You know, Cambodian Buddhism also Cambodian people also have experience practicing with Vajrayana of a new form of Buddhism or over 500 years in Angkor period, before Angkor period. So three religions, Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana Buddhism, placed in Khmer culture for a long time already. So the Khmer people studied Ulampana Sutra in Mahayana tradition, and Ulampana Sutra said the gate of the hell will open in that period. But it's 2 months before our real Pchum, like what Chinese people practice today. So I can say that because this is they remember or they pointed everything to their ancestor. If they miss this chance, miss this period, their ancestor will punish them. This is the second one they do for their ancestor. That's why we call Pchum or Ancestor Day. And the third one, I see the Kathina celebration. It is mostly just Buddhist people. So they come to offer to the monk. It means to support the monk and support to the temple. Yeah. So I can say that I see three main value that our culture, our Cambodian faith.
Yes, as far as you mentioned about from other tradition as well, do they have some similar sort of Chumban or ancestor days like we do in Bon Chumban?
We can say only Chinese people. Chinese people, they don't celebrate 15 days like us right now, but they have recorded that the gate of the hell, will open for this period. Yeah, for this period. So their people will their relative will come out from the hell and and will receive their celebration. Chinese people still get old-fashioned, giving food or burning some currency or something. But in Taiwan or Hong Kong, they will use credit card or something to give to their beta or their relatives. But this tradition is not only in Ullambana Sutra, in Mahayana tradition, but one time in Buddha's time, Janosoni Brahmin came to the Buddha in Anguttara Nikaya, Chakkanipada, the book of six, mentioned about dedication, the merit to the departed people. Janosoni Brahmin come to the Buddha, approached Buddha and told him that traditionally, our Brahmin and our culture, we celebrate Dakshinadana. It means to offering food to the priest, to the recluses or Sramana or Brahmin, and dedicate this merit to departed relatives. So what is your Buddhist perspective? What is your idea about this dedication, about this celebration? And the Buddha said, yeah, this merit can reach your relative by occasion. If your relative goes to that kind of beta or hungry ghost or something, they will receive. And if your relative go to very deep place like hell, so this much suffer, they cannot receive that your dedication. That is one story that we got from the Buddhist canon, that our Pchum related to the Chinese tradition and related to Indian tradition and other tradition also, like in Laos and Thai. So they do just only one day on Loi Krathong. So only one day in the full clear moons of this month. But some other tradition will celebrate, because sometimes we call similar day, but in different occasion and different celebration. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for pointing out. I have read some document. They said similar things, just a comparison to Bon Pchum, but not exactly the Bon Pchum as we Khmer people have. So I would like to turn to Most Honorable Doctor. Maybe you have anything else to add on to that about the ancestor days, and also you have lived in Sri Lanka a long time ago. Have you observed any similarity about Bon Pchum, or maybe they have the Go Festival, like in America, they have the Halloween is coming right now in October, and they say this also like the day they honor those who passed away and the ancestors also. Please, Doctor.
I think in each and every country does have its own celebration in terms of remember, or in terms of dedication to the departed ones. Some people might term it as ancestral worship, or in the West, they say it is a memorial day. But in the ultimate sense, all those dedication is only for the departed ones, or to remember their services, to kind of appreciate what they have done for the society. Likewise, Cambodia also is no exception. We do have that kind of celebration called Pchum. Simply, I think maybe it is the biggest celebration to remember someone who already left the world. And I don't see any kind of similarity in Sri Lanka with the Pchum in Cambodia, because Pchum in Cambodia is very unique. It is not just a small part of the society engagement, it is the whole country, from royal palace to the street people. So everybody is celebrating. If you look at the website of the royal palace, His Majesty also celebrated Pchum. And you look at the government, having a prime minister also celebrated this Pchum. So the whole society, the whole Cambodia celebrate this Pchum. And from national perspective or from national angle, we can see that this is a sort of national celebration, national holiday that people across the countries move back and forth to reunion with their families, especially the one who had been away from their relatives and their parents. So Pchum is the day that they gonna go and meet each other once a year. At least they're gonna see each other once a year and celebrate it in their own styles. Even though the main spirit of Pchum is very Buddhist way, but still our people still find a way to celebrate in their own style, just like Venerable Sanctity said, they celebrate for themselves. But it's okay, it's fine. David, and all the temples, more than 5,000 temples are open for the devotees to come. And from a religious perspective, we can see that within these 2 week celebrations, so especially Cambodia has, especially the Cambodian people, the elders are very smart because they use the Parabhava Sutra, the discourse on the dawnfall. So in the morning, before the dawn, so we have Bach Bible, which is very, I think it's very good because this celebration is mostly joined by the youth. So most of the young Cambodian people join this program, the Bach Bible in the morning, and they're gonna listen to Parabhava Sutra, the discourse on the downfall. So it is a sort of mixture, and I think that people appreciate this celebration very much because we can see from different angles of the celebration, as I have already shared with you. Thank you.
Thank you
and
so much. Yeah.
very happy to see Professor John Ho. Very happy to see you. Thank you.
Good morning, Professor. Can you hear us right now?
I can hear you. I hope
Yeah,
you can hear me.
yeah, we can hear you too right now. We are so glad to have you back, and we're still just on the introduction of the Bon Chumban. And I believe that Professor John Hall has written a chapter on Bon Chumban in your book, the Theravada tradition, something I forgot the whole. Okay, let me just check that the name of your book again. It is a Theravada traditions, Buddhist ritual cultures in contemporary Southeast Asia and in Sri Lanka. So I would like to just to inform our audience that Professor John Hole is a retired professor. He used to teach Buddhism in different colleges and used to be a visiting professor to other university as well. And he has written number of books on Buddhist practices throughout Asia, and I believe that you may have done research about Cambodian ritual practices as well. So we would like to invite you to share from your research or experience about the Pchum, as we Khmer people, Cambodian people all around the world are right now conducting the Pchum festival, even in the United States of America, my temple and all the venerable monks here in their own temple. So we're still celebrating the Bon Chumban, and today is moving close to the last day of the Bon Chumban. So would you share anything from your own research about Pchum, please?
Well, first of all, I may not be teaching now, but I'm not retired yet because I keep getting asked to do things, and I'm still working on
Oh yeah, thank you.
a book that is going to be published this next year on the Buddhist Muslim problem in the deep south of Thailand.
Mhm.
So yes, about 10 years ago, I did spend 2 months in Cambodia, and I was focused on Pchum, and I think what I wrote was one of the most interesting experiences for me. And it came out, I think, as a very good article published in Japan with Southeast Asian Studies, the journal from Kyoto University. And then I rewrote it to be the last chapter in this book, Theravada Traditions. The general idea behind that book, within which I focused on Pchum, is that social, economic, and political changes often elicit great changes in religious culture. And I had earlier, many years ago, written a long article on the Petavatu. And I could see in the liturgy at the temples where I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to participate, the presence of the Tiru Kuda Sutta from the Petavatu. And I could see that what had happened in Cambodia was quite unique in the Buddhist world insofar as in Sri Lanka or Myanmar or Laos, the other Buddhist countries that I had spent some time in, lived in, there is not a celebration of this particular rite. And so the question that arose for me was why has this particular rite become so important in Cambodia? While we don't see it really, I think maybe in southern Thailand and Nakhon Sing Tamarat, there's a little bit of observance of a similar rite, but nothing throughout the rest of the Theravada world that is comparable to this particular ritual. And so, I began to read a lot, as much as I could, in English and French about Khmer religious culture. And, it seemed to me that the reason that this rite, which I think, unlike perhaps some people in Cambodia today, I think is a very, very old ritual. And I think its origins actually go back to India. And insofar as we can see that elements of it are transformations of Brahmanical rites for the dead that were celebrated in South India, particularly Andhra Pradesh, in a ritual known as Sapindi Karana, where rice balls are formed and put together to represent the body of the deceased. And then a 12-day series of rites are performed to assist the deceased in getting into a better place in the other world or a good rebirth in this world. So those elements, we also see to a certain extent, especially the pinda present in the current Pchum rite. But what I came to see through my reading is that there are good reasons for why this particular ritual is celebrated in such a robust fashion in Cambodia today. It's the simple fact that a lot of people died in a very tragic way. And that what the reemergence of this rite indicates is the potential, the ability of Theravada Buddhist religious culture to respond to the existential and spiritual needs of its constituents. And so that was sort of the general idea, to feature a study of this rite as exemplifying this more general pattern. And I wrote about other rituals that I think are extremely important in Thailand and Laos and in Myanmar and in Sri Lanka, which is the religious culture that I know.
And
best.
Professor, you mentioned about the trace back in history about the it might be the origin of Pchum, and you observe the somewhat similarity have been practiced in India, right? Can you trace back the time in history, like in what century or?
Yeah, I would guess, that it's hard to say when you're dealing with Pali texts, it could have been anywhere from, whenever Buddhist communities were forming in need of a way of addressing the well-being of their recently departed family members. So historically, that could be anywhere from the 3rd century before the Common Era to, I don't know, maybe the turn of the Common Era. So I think it's very, very old. And I also think that some of the elements of Pchum have come by way of the Chinese. And was able to see that in the 19th century during An Duang's reign, in Phnom Penh, the population of Phnom Penh was about 60% Chinese at the time. And we know that there was a resurgence of this ritual during that time. So I think that, the ancient roots undoubtedly are Buddhist responses to prevailing Brahmanical Hindu practices. But over time, the ritual was influenced by the Chinese ethos of family religion, the importance of family religion. And I see Pchum as just really a essential example of religion being practiced on the family level. And it's really an occasion where the family celebrates its extended reality, not just those who are present now, but those who have gone before. And we know that, as far back as Angkor, and before Angkor, I'm quite sure, but we see it so clearly in Angkor that ancestor veneration, venerating one's parents, was central to the religious life of the people, especially the royalty at that time, who erected temples to Shiva and to Parvati, but then renamed the images in those temples as their parents, as their deceased parents. So we know there's this long tradition in Cambodia of venerating one's ancestors. And so the Pchum Bun is a kind of confluence for all of these different forces that have crystallized today and has resurged in what I thought was a very dramatic fashion. I could see how there were elements of pilgrimage involved, people going back to their villages or Bansukol on the last day, a reuniting with their families. And so I came to see this as sort of a national celebration of the family, but also, given recent history, it's a family celebration of the survival of the nation as well. So it's operating on these very, very important levels. And of course, the Sangha, very much involved in a necessity for the successful performance of these rites. And so you have the two most important social institutions in Cambodian culture coming together at this time for a celebration of life, basically, of having gotten through this terrible period of history. This became a way of doing that. So that, in a nutshell, are some observations that I have. I would say personally, I spent basically all 15 days intensively participating at different temples, different venues, both in Phnom Penh and in the countryside. And I was personally really very moved by the entire experience, talking to people about, asking innocent questions, why are you doing this and so forth, which elicited these very powerful stories from their own experiences, their own personal histories. And, it's one thing to read about what has happened historically. It's quite another to meet people who have been so personally affected. Their lives were so profoundly changed by that experience. So it was, for me also, when people ask me if I'm Buddhist, I often will say, well, I have a lot of empathy for Buddhist philosophical perspectives and increasingly for ritual practice. And there are many Buddhists, particularly in America, who have not a very positive view of the performance of ritual. They're more interested in meditation. They're more interested in philosophical ideas and maybe their own experiences growing up in a church or synagogue or whatever were such that they really didn't enjoy the ritual dimension of the religious life. But I found in doing this work and then also in Sri Lanka over the years that ritual is really the context in which people come face to face really with the principal ideas and are moved emotionally in a way that leads to, I think, profound religious experiences. And when I was meeting people in Cambodia over these 15 days of Pchum, I could see the profound existential realization that was involved in their participation. It wasn't simply rote participation. Okay, I have to do this. This is ritual, something I have to do for people. Were, on the whole, were really genuinely quite engaged. And so for me, what that illustrates is how some people may be too quick to talk about how ritual is not so important.
Yeah.
It's ethics that is important. Well, maybe you don't have an awareness of ethics unless you participate in ritual first.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was another lesson that I drew.
Thank you for
I'm talking too
sharing.
much. Yeah, I'm talking too much. No, maybe
It's
I'd
no,
like to
it's
hear
totally
something.
want to hear from you because it's not easy to get you in. I mean, because of technical issues, so we've been waiting for you for some time. So thank you so much for sharing, and I think I have a lot of questions for you, but maybe just ask from most honorable Dr. John Sijit first before I add up another question to Professor John. Venerable Dr. John Sijit, can you describe some of the main activities that being conducted during the Bonkan Ban and Pchum Ban? So to say, like some people said that some cultural or Khmer traditional activities, whereas some others are religious or Buddhist activities. So can you point out some of those?
Thank you, Honorable Moderator. We simply call the Pchum Ban celebration, but we divide the celebration into two parts. One is called Kanwen, kind of 14-day celebration that each and every community of the monastery have to take turns to offer foods to the temple. We call Kanwen. Kanwen is turn and take turn to offer the requisites to the Buddhist monks and make a donation to the temple. And the big one we call it Pchum Thom. Some people call it Pchum Thom, big Pchum Ban or big Pchum is on the 15th day of the celebration, and this is the day that all the people, Buddhist people, all the communities will come together and celebrate it as the big one, the biggest one out of the 14 days. This is the Pchum Ban Day is the biggest one, the biggest celebration. And as I already spoke and earlier, that we have a different number of activities, very Buddhist way of doing things, and in a way that like very Cambodian way of doing things. But this kind of celebration is a sort of the image of enculturation between the like the Buddhism and the Khmer culture. Like it is kind of an integration between these two cultures, and we already know that before the Buddhism arrived in Cambodia, we had our own local cultures, local traditions. So, and later on, Cambodian people practice Buddhism. Most of the population are practice Buddhism. Then they include everything, not everything, sorry, they include most of the things that they have been done in their own way of life in the last 100 years. And for example, we have chanting and we have preaching, and then in the morning the monks gonna chant the Brahma Sutras to teach the devotees about the cause and the downfall. And then in the morning they give breakfast, they offer breakfast to the monk, and the celebration will be ended after when they offer the lunch. And then the other families or community gonna take turn one by one. And for the Cambodian cultures, but at this point, I find a little bit little bit controversial, because some people start keep saying that this is not really Cambodian, this is Hindu, this is Khmer, this is Chinese. But the celebration is still going on. One of the celebrations that I would like to share with the audiences is kind of farewell ceremony for the ancestor, because they believe, traditionally, they believe that the ancestor gonna come and come to join the celebration. So once the celebration is done, they have to say goodbye to see them off. So they float the, what is, I don't know how to call that one, a small
Like
boats.
Yeah.
Is it correct, Professor Hall, that they make
Professor,
it,
you have heard about that?
in Thailand they call Loi Krathung, here in Cambodia we call Loi Protip. So they put everything on that small boat, and then they kind of appreciate the presence of the ancestors. So I agree with what Professor John Ho say, rites and ritual does have its own meaning and its uniqueness. Unless you participate it, you don't see the effect, or you learn something. How people, appreciate this kind of small celebration in their own style, in their own communities, or as a whole, as a nation. And people are very happy. People are very happy. Because when we are having rites and ritual celebrations, it is better not to look at its image. Basically, we have to look at the meanings of that celebration. As a Cambodian person, Cambodian who was born in this country and grown up in this country and are getting old in this country, I still appreciate how this kind of celebrations brought us together, bring the unity in the community, and most of the people are well engaged, especially in between among the Cambodian Buddhist communities. The villagers who have never been to the temple, definitely they will come to the temple during this celebration. So there is a very deeply engagement between the monastic community and the devotees. So it's very nice, even though we cannot point out exactly that this celebration is originated in, I just mean some, because in that Pchum celebration, that has a different form of formats of doing things. You have kind of sand mountain, you have a kind of farewell ceremony, and you also have kind of giving food to monk, preaching, many things. So it's still, I think people are very much appreciate this celebration.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think a lot of activities that we Khmer people do during this Kanban and Pchumban. It's a time for children to pay gratitude to their parents, to respect their elders in the communities, not just their own family. And also it's a family gathering occasion. People been very busy. So this is very happy occasion. Yeah, what about Doctor? Have anything to add?
I just want to add one more thing. And I see one practice at the grassroots level, especially each and every family has its own, problems. I mean, like kind of conflicts in the family. So during this celebration, especially on the Pchum Tom, they gonna go to their family and reunite. And if there is any kind of conflict in the family, so the parents, the father and the mother is considered as the main figure to reconcile the members of their own families. And I see one thing which is very moving for me, to see how people are very brave to say sorry or to forgive to someone that they had committed a mistake in the family. So during this celebration, people are some sort of kind of keep themselves in a low profile and come up with the idea of reconciliation, forgive and forget. So Bon Pchumban and the Khmer New Year, these 2 days people always make a lot of concessions in terms of conflict resolution. So it's go beyond just giving food to the temples. It has its own unique style of celebration in their own families too. Especially like in my family, the elders usually always remind that this day, this celebration is the time that for you to forgive and forget and to reconcile. There is no more conflict. And people are kind of very open-minded on that day. But some people don't talk it except only during this day. So this is a very special day. Goes beyond the physical celebration, but it is kind of spiritual practice too.
Yeah, that sounds great, Venerable Doctor. Thank you, Venerable Dr. Johnson Yet from Wat Analaum, Phnom Penh, Kingdom of Cambodia. And I would like to hear from Venerable Sam Janti from Arizona too. You have anything to add on to that? Some of the other activities that usually conducted during the Chumban season.
Thank you, Venerable Moderator. And again, good morning, Dr. John. We have controversy about contacting and the internet yesterday down for many hours. So thank you. We are happy to see you here. Yeah, adding to the most Venerable Dr. Johnson Yet, I got the idea also about how Cambodian people celebrate our ancestor day. And it is not only 15 days that we see today, but our ancestors celebrate like 3 months, like the times of our King Prabat Ong Duong in 1848. So he started 3 months to collect the people, because when he came, he escaped from Thai emperor in the Thai kingdom. So he started this celebration to gather people and their people, especially Khmer people, together and teach the right ritual and how we will take care our culture, how we will unite our culture and our kingdom again, and to be strong again as we had before. And also he mentioned about the long wait period also have such a great rite and ritual tradition in, especially in the reigns of King Angchan II. And also we remember to Angkor period in 12th century also was written by professor, the famous professor, about how human take place in Angkor period. And if we look back to our Buddhist canon, in Buddhist canon, we can see many stories related to the Pacheka Buddha. It means the single enlightenment Buddha, and or we call Brajeka Buddha. Brajeka Buddha, it is the enlightened before the time or in between the time of the Buddha enlightenment. So in many stories in our canon, we state about the hermit or Pacheka Buddha or some other recluses or sramana. that they came out from the Himalaya to find something, to find a shelter in rainy season for 4 months. So people started to invite him to their village and build like the hut or temple for them and support them for all 3 months. And after 3 months, they left the village, go to Himalaya area. So this is the tradition that our people follow while we are receiving. We receive Buddhism for. I think we can say that we receive Buddhism for 3rd century BC, like Sona and Uttara come to the Savannah Bhumi, to Southeast Asia, and we got Buddhism and tradition, and we read the canon, we read the Buddhist book, Buddhist text, and we follow that part. And our elders like Sariputta, Moggallana, or Mahakapina also have such a story that telling about how they in previous birth practice offering food to the monk for 3 months in rainy season. So we see a lot of story. That's why our people keep doing this, because they think that not only dedicate this merit to their departed relative, but for themselves, in order to accumulate the merit for themselves, for prosperity in family or in the society. Especially Venerable Dr. Jensen Yin mentioned, it is very auspicious day that people gather on the final day. It means tomorrow is the 15th day of our Pchum celebration, and people gather together in one house, especially in elder of the family, or in the temple where our ashes of our ancestor placed in the how we call a jet day, stupa. Or in some other place in or grave or somewhere. So they gather together, they clean that area, and they invite 1 or 2 monks to chant and to advise them. The monk is the witness of their forgiveness or excuse to each other, because some family, in family, the elder and the younger never talk together, never talk to each other. They have some conflict or some interruption during their business or something. But this day they come together, the monk as a witness, and they talk to each other. It's very, very very auspicious occasion for them. That thank you, Venerable Doctor, that mentioned that thing. And Pchum is not only for departed people, but for the family, for our society, and for ourselves. It is beyond just giving the food to the monk. Thank you.
Thank you. As Professor John here consider his different backgrounds in terms of ethnicity and also religious background. For us, we are Cambodian and we are Buddhist, and of course we might see the good points or the bad point from the Bon Pchum and Kanban, how people celebrate it. We may have a different favor or likes and dislikes about the Bon Pchum, but I would like to know from Professor John, as you're not Cambodian or you might not be a Buddhist, how do you observe, how do you see the good side and bad side from Bon Kanban or Pchum, as based on what both Venerable monks have mentioned about some main activity during the Kanban. We have giving charity to the monks, we have honoring our ancestor, we have traditional food that people cook, bring to the temple, they wear traditional clothes to the temple, they do the chanting, they listen to the Dharma, they observe the precept, they practice the meditation. A lot of things are going on in there. So please, I would like to hear from your perspective.
Well, everything that I've heard described, I recognized from my time in Cambodia. And actually the second part, it's a long chapter, it's about 75 pages. The second part is a description of those very activities that we've just heard about. I'm not such an outsider. I've been studying Buddhism for 50 years. And have lived for 7 years in Sri Lanka, and my children growing up spent much more time in Buddhist temples than they did in Christian churches, that's for sure. And they also, I think, have an understanding of the importance of anicca and anatta. I do too. So in some ways, I'm a strange person, because I'm kind of inside and kind of outside. The one comment I wanted to make was relevant to the question that you raised earlier about about, is this a cultural phenomenon or a religious phenomenon? And when I was talking to monks in Cambodia, almost all of the monks that I talked to were very semi-oriented, very modern, reformist-oriented, educated people who tended to see this rite as more of a cultural expression. And I can understand why they would say that, even given the comments that we've just heard, and the centrality of this rite for the family, a reconstituting of the family. And that's what's going on with this forgiveness, this the time of reconciling differences in the family, of sort of setting things right again. At the time I had those discussions in Phnom Penh with various monks, I remember thinking, oh, this is really a Buddhist rite. This is really a religious rite. And this was my immediate reaction. So, what is more important in a religious tradition than how the question of death is handled? Because, after all, death really puts life in perspective. I mean, whenever someone dies, we think about what was the meaning of this person's life? What did they give to us, and so forth. So I saw it not just as inherently Buddhist, we can trace this back in the canon, really. The references to Pinda, the Buddha's own stories within the Petabatu that sort of lay out the logic for transferring merit to the departed, which is also an interesting issue that's been discussed. But as I thought about this over the years, whether this is cultural, whether there is religious, I thought, well, in some ways, this is a false dichotomy, insofar as Pchum seems to be part of what we can call a religious culture, Buddhist religious culture. And I think if we think of religion more as a type of culture, and stress Buddhist rather than Buddhism, and stress what, the adjective, the quality of life, as opposed to the noun, the institution, the tradition that is somewhat abstract in reality, then I think it helps us to understand that we don't need to argue about whether it's just cultural or religious. This is part of Buddhist religious culture. And I think it's specifically these days right at the heart of Khmer religious culture, Khmer Buddhist religious culture. And I came away from my study of this rite thinking that people in Cambodia ought to be really proud of this tradition, because you kept an ancient tradition alive that seems to have not really proliferated in other parts of the Theravada world. So those are some comments in response. It was really fun for me to hear these descriptions of what goes on during the observances during 14 days, and on the final day. It brought back all of these images and memories I had.
And Professor,
I'll add one last thing, if I might say. I think we also have to remember that much depends on where Pchum being celebrated. It's very different at Wat Unalam than it is, say, 80 kilometers outside of Phnom Penh, in a temple like Wat Kokos, that at one time was used as an interrogation center for the Khmer Rouge. A lot of people died there. And so on that final Ansukul Day, you find people not going to their villages, but they go to the last place that they know that their father or their husband or their son was alive. And then they perform the rituals of not just giving to monks, but also many of them have sort of created facsimile ashes from the dead that they have deposited in a stupa. So it very much depends on where you are on that day. Each village is going to be different, of course, and each family is going to be different. Each temple has its own history as well and is associated with different levels, different aspects of society.
Yeah, Professor, if I may ask, what is your most favorite part of Bon Chumban celebration? Can you share? What's your most favorite part about Bon Chumban? What do you like about Bon Chumban? Is there any favorite part that you like about?
Well, what I liked was seeing families together, and also, I which is something that each of you have stressed. What also impressed me was how the economy of the country came alive at this time, and almost in the same way that you see during the Christmas and New Year's holidays here in this country. It's the biggest commercial time of the year, and so you see people shopping to take things back to their villages, and I got this sense that the gift giving isn't just giving to the monks, it's also giving to your parents when you go back, or giving to your family to help celebrate urban people,
the needy,
seem to have a responsibility for the people in the rural areas more. And I don't know how solid this observation is, but I was really struck by the economic differences between the countryside and the city in Cambodia. So much more vast differences than I see in Thailand, or that I see in Laos, or in Sri Lanka. There's more of a distribution of wealth in those countries than in Cambodia. And so I saw in this return to the village on the last day of the rite, this is something Eric Davis has written about in his book about death in Cambodia. There's some kind of a payback, or we owe the place where we came from, we owe our family something, a recognition of that going on at the same time. So in terms of what I like that. I like the recovery, rejuvenation of the family. That's what impressed me the most.
Thank you. And
really nothing that I didn't like really about this.
Yeah, hope you can join in any temple in USA too. We have a lot of Cambodian temple throughout the states. Yeah, come and join one. Yeah, in New York too. I think you're still in New York right now.
Yeah, I'm in New York right now.
Yeah, you can go to a Cambodian temple. I think on the weekends, the last day will be Saturday and Sunday, so there will be a lot of people coming to conclude the Pchum day, the last day of the Bon Chumban. Yeah, you can go and see for yourself in how they celebrate in USA.
It'd be very interesting. I know of a Cambodian temple in Brooklyn, in New York. Maybe I'll get there.
Yeah, we Venerable Sanyati can inform too if you like to go to any temple in New York. Yeah, he have all the information of the temples. yeah. Let him know, okay, if you like to go. Yeah.
Maybe I can join by Zoom successfully this time.
Oh, sure. Now you're doing. Yeah. Now we're doing it. Yeah. Celebrating Chumban through the Zoom. And Doctor, one more question, Professor. Is there any similarity between these ancestor days of Cambodian people to the Halloween that American people are going to celebrate soon? You see anything similar with regard to that?
Well, Yes, actually, I'd say substantially not much of a connection, but structurally, yes. The form, just Halloween is the night before what was All Saints Day, the day in the Christian liturgical calendar where all the saints were worshipped. So the night before is the antithesis of that. In other words, it's the night when the not so saint types of people appear once a year. And so, I guess, in Thailand, I see a lot more conflation between the idea of ghosts and pretas or petas than in Cambodia. And so, if you associate dead relations coming for some kind of nurturance as ghosts, then yes, this is part of the ubiquitous belief in ghosts that we find throughout the world. But what's different is that this has been so tied into the family, and it's so linked now to the national regeneration that what's going on in Cambodia is unique. And I don't think it's been as utterly commercialized as Halloween is, and just kind of.
Yeah, Doctor, thank you for sharing a lot of points. Venerable Dr. Johnson, do you have anything to add or to ask the professor? If you do, please. Okay, Venerable Sanyati, you have anything to say?
Just mention about you're currently now reside in New York. So we have four Cambodian temple in New York. Two in the city of New York, in Brooklyn and in Bronx, and two more outside New York. It is in New York upstate, in Rochester, and in Wichita. So we have the four Cambodian temple in New York. And I read your biography. You are from Maine, so we have only one temple in Maine. We have only one.
I know. Well, Maine is still my home, just temporarily. And there's a temple that I have been to in Lowell, Massachusetts. The very important temple, I think, for the area.
Go ahead.
And there were in the 1980s, mid 1980s, there were a lot of Cambodian people who came to Maine, but I think it was just too cold for them. And so they migrated down more to Massachusetts. And Maine is also much more rural. And at the time, Maine was 98% white people. So I think it was very difficult for them, much better for them in cities where there are lots of different kinds of people who don't vote for Donald Trump.
Of course, the law is like a Cambodian town. We have a Cambodian town in Lowell area, so we have such 6 Cambodian temples over there, and we have some in some other city, like in Revere, one in Linz, one in Fall River, one in Rochester, Winchester. And we have another in Rhode Island area. We had 3 temples in Rhode Island where our like Kosananda was resided before, and the book was researched by Dr. Johnson from Harvard postdoctoral. And we have until now we have 141 Cambodian temples throughout United States. And we have more than 400 monks. So you can do research. And regarding this thing, maybe I need your help also. I'm also doing doctoral in psychology in Grand Canyon University here also, and my dissertation will be the role of religion in psychology. So I need some more of your help, maybe. Maybe.
Anytime I can help, that'd be fine. Most of the Cambodian people in Maine ended up in Lowell. That's how I came to know about it. But I'm really impressed. 141 temples. I had no idea there were that many temples in the United States.
Yeah, this is also my dissertation. I have to find out why 141 temple and why a big temple and small temple, why some town have many temple and some are not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And every temple is still busy conducting the Bon Chumban still. And today at my temple too is the day 14, and tomorrow I think is the last day. But in the United States of America, we move it to the weekend day, so a lot of people can join the last day, and a lot of good things and a lot of insights we have learned from you, Professor. I think because of the time, so I would like to hear the last message from Professor John Hall. Do you have anything to share as the last message for our program?
Just keep doing what you're doing. It's really wonderful to see and to hear about. And I think the fact that there are now 141 temples, Theravada Khmer Buddhist temples in the United States, is just more of historical proof of the transnational nature of Buddhist tradition. And I think Buddhism shares with Islam and Christianity this ability to go to any part of the world and to adapt and to change and be adapted and be changed wherever it goes, which is very clear from what you just said about celebrating on the weekend, accommodating to the American.
Yeah, that's amazing, Professor.
But,
yeah.
It's really wonderful to hear about all these activities, and so I want to congratulate you, and also holding a program like this is really a wonderful thing to provide more people with information, some background about this very important way. So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really honored to be a part of this, and I'm around. I will be in Thailand quite a bit once the virus gets under control, and probably splitting my time between San Francisco and Southeast Asia in the future. So I'm not retired.
Yeah. Yeah, you're quite active actually. Thank you, Professor, for your time. Yeah. Thank you so much, and I would like to move to Venerable Dr. Johnson Yet for the last message. Yes.
For Cambodian Buddhist people, we should be proud of Chumban, and I wish all the people long life and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Venerable Samyanti, any last message?
I heard from most Western Buddhist scholars, they said that now we are learning from you in Eastern culture, but maybe another 40 or 50 years, you will come to learn Buddhism from the Western country. So for 141 temple in the United States, maybe such a small cooperation with the Western culture and Buddhism together. So keep doing our tradition, take care of our tradition and culture, and especially practice the true Dhamma of the Buddha to dispel the hatred or delusion and craving in our mind. Thank you.
Thank you all the speakers for joining today's program, and also share a lot of good insights on Bon Chumban Festival. And overall, let me conclude the idea behind the Bon Chumban, as all of you have given, that the Bon Chumban has the spirit of bringing people together, the family reunion, the chance to do good, as people are very busy each and every day of their life. But at least during the Bon season of Chumban Festival, people can donate their time at least a few days to their hometown, visiting relatives and friends, and be able to render service to their parents, to their elders in the community, in the village, and the chance to be able to do charity to all the poor people and those who are in need of support, and as well as to support the monks in their hometown, in their temples. So this is such a very good traditional as well as the religious way of doing things from Cambodian people. And I do hope that all Cambodian people around the world, and not just Cambodian people, but all people will find delight and joy in joining and celebrating this Pchum as it is open for the public. And we wish all of you the best of luck during this Pchum gathering. And we have to be very careful as well because the COVID is still around. So I wish all of you to be safe and to be protected by the blessings of the Buddha. May you all be free from dangers and enmity. May you all be free from suffering, be liberated, and also be well and happy. And now I would like to end this live show, but I would like to accumulate all the merit done through this sharing of Dhamma and discussion to all beings in the whole universe. May all be happy, be well. Thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.